Hey friends, it's Cherie, and in today's video, I am collaborating with Michelle of Michelle Says Again. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're a returning person, thank you so much for your continued support. All right, let's get into it. If you are not already subscribed to and following Michelle Says Again, I totally encourage you to check out both her YouTube channel as well as her Instagram page. She is an amazing sewist. She has lots of wonderful content to share with us. And right now she's running a challenge that is bringing about awareness to Alzheimer's disease. And I'm very impressed with her and so excited to support her in this challenge. The name of the challenge is Sew Purple to End ALZ. And if you head over to her YouTube channel, you can watch a video where she shares her personal experience with Alzheimer's and also how it has affected her family. Unfortunately, Michelle lost her father to this disease, and it is her mission to spread awareness about the disease as well as to raise money in order to increase research as well as treatments for this disease. All right, so in this challenge, she has collaborated with several different YouTubers and Instagrammers, and for each of us, we came up with a sewing pattern that we wanted to sew. We're all sewing something purple, and we're all going to be doing something special with Michelle. The pattern that Michelle and I decided to make for this particular collaboration is the Almada robe by Seamwork. Now, Michelle had made this before, but I had never made it. So she graciously decided to go ahead and make it along with me, and I totally appreciate that. This pattern is actually something that you can purchase. I know that Seamwork has a subscription available. However, you can purchase this pattern outright, and it's actually very affordable. The pattern number is 3088. And it is described as a relaxed fit robe. And I 100% agree with that. I'm actually wearing it right now, and I will insert pictures of me walking around and turning around in the robe. I'll also show you some close-up details of how I've changed up the pattern in order to make it more appropriate for me. I thought it might be a great opportunity to make this robe because I will be having surgery soon, and I thought it would be a really comfortable thing for me to wear after my surgery. And I definitely stand by that decision. I think that this is going to work out really nicely for me. This particular pattern is extremely easy. I'll have to say it's a lot easier than I thought it would be. I'm going to talk to you about the number of pattern pieces that come in this pattern. This pattern actually has only 4 pattern pieces, okay? And it is just such a quick sew. I was totally surprised by how quickly I put this thing together. Now, I want to tell you the different fabric recommendations for this pattern. The fabric recommendations for this pattern are lightweight woven fabrics such as voile, poplin, twill, satin, and sateen, and crepe de chine. I personally chose to make this out of a rayon challis, which I purchased from Amazon. I will link the fabric below in the information section of this video. Now, the size range for this is actually really good. It goes from a size 0 to a size 26 or an extra small to a size 3X. It's very inclusive and lots of people can make this, so I really like this pattern a lot for that reason. I personally chose to make the size medium, which is a size 8 to 10. However, I do believe that I probably could have gone down to a size small. And if I decide to make this pattern again in the future, I will absolutely size down because it is extremely oversized. Being oversized is part of the design of this robe. However, I do want to let you know that at a size medium, without doing the modifications that I made to this pattern, I could not keep the robe on my shoulders or closed in front of me. So I'll talk to you about what I did in order to make this particular robe fit my body up better. Let's talk about the materials that you need and the supplies that you need for this particular pattern. You will need all-purpose polyester sewing thread, and you will also need some bias tape. You can make your own, but I personally chose to buy pre-made bias tape that I purchased on Amazon. I bought it in a large quantity and it is white, so I use it on a lot of different things because it's white. If I had had more time with this garment, I definitely would have considered picking up a different color of bias tape, either purple or navy blue, but I just went ahead and used what was in my stash. You'll also need fabric, and the amount of fabric that you need for this pattern is, if you're going to be using 45-inch wide fabric, you'll need 3.5 yards. If you're going to be doing 60-inch fabric, you'll need 2 7/8 yard. I did use probably 3 yards of fabric. I may have even had a little bit left over that I can use for like pockets on future projects and things like that. But I pretty much used all of the fabric that I purchased, so that was really good. And this particular pattern, I just feel like it came together so quickly and so easy. I do want to say though, with using a rayon challis, and I sew with rayon challis all the time, so this definitely surprised me a bit when I was making it, but I did not use a rotary cutter to cut out my pieces. I used scissors, and some of my pieces, to be honest, were cut a little wonky, okay? And it might be because I cut the project, put it in a bag, and it sat in a corner for a while, and maybe it stretched out over time. I don't know what the case was, but I ironed up all my pieces, and when I went to sewing, I felt as though they may have either been cut poorly or maybe stretched from the time that I cut them to the time that I sewed them. It wasn't a huge deal, but because of that, I did do a lot of stay stitching. I did stay stitching along the neckline and down the fronts of the robe on the front pieces. And for me, that just helped to keep it from stretching anymore. That is one thing about using rayon challis, is that it can stretch if you cut your projects really far in advance and they just sit around after a while. I have found that sometimes when I go to iron the pieces, they're no longer the exact shape and size that they were when I initially started. So I did run into that as an issue, but to be perfectly honest, I just kept going. I didn't let it stop me. It didn't slow down my thought process on how to get the robe done. I just followed the instructions and kept going, and then took note for future that I probably won't use a rayon challis in the future when making this particular robe, although I do like this version. One of the things that is interesting about this robe is that it has this really great like kimono style, and I'm going to show you a picture here, but I'll also insert a picture on the screen. It has these really large sleeves, and actually, let me set my iPad down so I can show you. If you do like this, you can see all of this space on the inside of the robe. So it's very loose and flowy, perfect for relaxing. And it also has this really great tie feature in the front, which you can leave open if you don't want to close it up, but I personally like to cover myself up, so I like having this really nice large tie in order to close it in the front. And it just fits very comfortable and loose on the body. It's definitely the perfect type of robe for throwing on if somebody shows up at your house unannounced and you're not dressed, okay? I like the style of it, and I think that if I do make it again, I might make it out of a double gauze or maybe a chambray, a lightweight denim. I think that would be really cute, and I think I might actually wear it out and not just as a robe if I make it out of a lightweight denim. So I think that's a really great feature. This particular pattern took me, I want to say, about 2 hours to sew up, and I forgot how much I really enjoy using bias tape to finish seams and edges. It definitely sped up the process for the sewing, but even just looking at the instructions, I can tell you right now, there is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages of instructions, and as you can see, the pages are mostly covered in detailed pictures for each of the steps. There aren't a lot of written steps in this pattern. I really love seam work patterns because they give such great illustrations for each of the steps, and it makes it very clear and easy to follow as you sew through the process of this pattern. So if you've never tried a seam work pattern before, I highly recommend them. I actually had a seam work membership for 2 years. I just canceled it, not because I didn't love seam work patterns, but more so because I have more patterns than I can actually sew. And I was finding that I wasn't sewing up as many as I would like from seam work. So I might resubscribe in the future, but I might not either. I might just purchase here and there as I find patterns that I really like. Another cool thing about seam work is that you can, if you are subscribed to them, watch their sew along videos, which are available on their website. So if you are a beginner, which I was when I first got my subscription, you can sew along with the instructor. And I think that that is fabulous, and they actually do a great job in their studio of filming tutorials. So definitely check that out. But as a beginner, I think you would have no issue at all sewing up this pattern. There's nothing in this pattern that would trip you up. There's no zippers, there's no buttons, no closures like that at all. And it's pretty straightforward. If you're using a woven fabric, you just have to use a straight stitch. Nothing hard about this pattern at all. Very quick, easy, and enjoyable sew. I'm gonna tell you what I did that's different from the pattern. What I did that's different is, as you can see, there's this large tie in the front. I did not want this robe to be falling open on me. So I created snaps. I added 3 snaps and I hand stitched them to the bias tape of the robe, okay? And no one can see it from the outside, but for me, it definitely gives me the coverage and security that I need, and it's going to be extremely handy when I have recently had surgery and I just need to get off my robe quickly, or I want to cover up quickly. I can just put those little snaps together and go. It has this really great large tie that you can tighten and loosen however you want it to be. I love how these arms drape, and as you can see, I chose to use navy blue serger thread. I did that because I didn't have purple in my stash. I thought it would look a little better than the white thread. Although I did use the white bias binding, I just think that this looks like a feature, whereas if I had done white serger thread, it would have just stood out and not looked like it was a part of the design. So that's what I did to modify this pattern in order to fit me more comfortably. Another great option if you don't want to hand sew snaps is they actually have snap tape that you can purchase on Amazon, and the snap buttons are actually already sewed onto something that looks like twill tape, and you can just cut the amount that you need, roll over the ends, and stitch it on either side of whatever garment that you want to snap together. I think that's a really great option for someone who doesn't have time to hand stitch snaps or buttons. So that's really cool. All in all, I really enjoyed sewing this pattern. I definitely want to give it another go in a smaller size. I really hope that you like this garment. I'm going to insert a few pictures. I only took a few of this garment, as well as me doing a little twirl in it so that you can see what the front and the back looks like on my body and how it moves as I move. I do love this robe. I can imagine that I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of it. But as I mentioned before, I highly recommend using maybe a little bit more of a stable woven fabric that will not stretch on you. And then that will allow you to be able to keep the original shape of your pattern pieces. And also, I recommend that if you are going to cut the project and you know you're not gonna sew it right away, if you are using something like a rayon challis, I highly recommend that you stay stitch all the pieces of the pattern before putting it away. That will just ensure that your pieces do not fray and do not stretch over time as they wait for you to sew them. So those are my recommendations. I do want to tell you a little bit more information about the Sew Purple to End ALZ challenge. Now, there are opportunities to win prizes for those that participate. So if you're interested in participating and you want to try to win a prize, this is what you have to do. So anything purple be in the month of September, and post a picture between September the 1st and September the 30th. And when you post on Instagram, you need to use the hashtag Sew Purple to End ALZ 22. And also you need to tag at The Real Michelle Sews Again on Instagram. I will put all this information in the information section of this video as well as on the screen so that you can jot it down. Now, Michelle has collaborated with someone almost every single day of the month of September. So if you go to her channel, you can see a video, I want to say every day except for one day this whole month, which is totally impressive. And if you want to support her, I encourage you to watch all those videos as well as watch the videos created by the people that she's collaborating with. And I will link the dates in those videos in the information section of this video so that you can have this as a reference to go back and forth as you're looking for the videos. I highly encourage you to support her with this challenge. Please help to spread the word about ALZ as well as to, spread the word that there is an opportunity for you to donate money to a worthy cause that will support people who are dealing with this disease. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. Now, also head over to Michelle's channel and subscribe to her channel and give her a thumbs up on her video in collaboration with me. Thank you so much for your support. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.